So anyways, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers who have been with me for the entire year. Um, this is relatively a brand new channel, and it's not easy kicking off a new YouTube channel. Um, the matter of the subject I'm going to discuss is very, very, very sensitive. But if I don't open up in a sensitive manner for which the conversation is, then I wouldn't call my channel The Truth Reels. My personal experiences are mine and mine alone, and I share it with my subscribers. I don't care who they are. I don't care what the conversation is. And this is one of those moments that I'm going to open up to you guys, and you'll see a side of me that maybe you haven't in the past. Okay? It's a very sensitive nature. If you guys could give me some feedback on it, I would appreciate it. But if you don't, I understand. I'm only human. And thanks again. I hope you guys have a nice night. Bye. Hi guys, it's Stephanie. There's something that's on my mind that I wanted to discuss with my subscribers and any viewers who could possibly be watching. I spent 6 days with my parents in Massachusetts. I had a great time. I hung out with my brother, my sister. We cooked. I went downtown. I went to the library. And I liked being up there in New England. However, there's something else that's been on my mind. But when I was up there in New England, I didn't want to dwell on it because of fear of ruining my vacation and also the time spent with my family. And that thing that was on my mind that I want to talk about ever since coming back was the fact that before I went to Massachusetts, I was hoping that my son would have gone up to my parents where I was staying and see me, but he never did. He never showed up. He never called. And I think he's pretty much kicked me to the curb. Yeah, he's pretty much just kicked me to the curb. Last year, I went to my brother's house last year, and the main reason why I went to Massachusetts was to see my son. So we planned it. We planned on a motorcycle ride with our friends, my brother, my son with his motorcycle, and my brother let me borrow one of his motorcycles. I don't think when I move to New England, I'll be contacting him, letting him know that I'm there. For the past 15 years, I've been knocking my head against the wall, chasing him practically. I reached a point that I'm going to leave my door open, but I'm not going to be doing any more chasing. When I was up at my parents', they brought up the subject of my son, and I explained to him what happened. That last year, I basically went up there to spend time with him. And all the time that I was with him, he totally ignored me and didn't even look at me. And when I try to get his attention, or when I try to jump in the conversation with him and my brother and some of our friends, he really looked at me kind of nasty, like I was annoying him. He's 26 years old. When I went through a divorce, he was young. He was probably about 10 years old. Children, when they're growing up with trans parents, they're supportive and open-minded only up until about just before their teens. And I've noticed this with other parents who have children who pretty much are neglected by their children, that just there's no communication, there's really no exchange of conversation, there's no attention coming from them, they just block you out. If you look at my text to him, it's just my text to him. There's no reply text at all. I was always there for him whenever he needed me. Whether he had girl problems or his stepfather was getting on his case, he would call me. If I tell you guys some of the names that he's called me over the years, maybe you guys would say that you would have kicked him to the curb years ago. You know, I've never been called an asshole by a family member, and I've been called an asshole by my son. I was never told that my life was a waste. Yes, I was told that by my son, that my life is a waste. I think what's happened is I've chased him so much that he's lost respect for me. But you know what? Throughout the years in the past, when I think of my son, I think of that little boy that used to welcome me to the post office. And I would hold his hands. And when I looked at him, all I saw was love. I'm very good at giving advice. But this side of my life that I'm experiencing, living without him, I didn't see. if anybody's coming out right now in their life and they want to go on with their transition and they have families, I would really encourage you to think about the cost of transitioning. It's not easy. Anybody can transition. Anybody can have a sex change. It's getting to the other side in one piece is what matters, is what's most important. When I got up to Massachusetts last week, I didn't want to contact him, and I didn't. Because at that point, I realized that I'm just chasing an invisible person. How can you be there for someone throughout their life and they can't be there for you? I would have given my life for my son in a heartbeat. I wouldn't think twice. I don't expect the same of him. I don't. I never thought that I would get on my channel and show this side of me. But I'm just a human being. I'm just a human being. This has been one interesting ride, one interesting life. Everybody's heard the term, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. It's stuff like this that makes me want to go out and get an alligator tattoo skin on my hands. Because you have to have alligator skin. You have to be tough, like an alligator skin. Because if you're not going to make it, in this world and going through gender changes and sex changes and hormones and all kinds of stuff. What some of you probably know is when you're taking the female hormone, everything that's sensitive and everything that's painful, it just amplifies everything. That's what the hormones do. And I'm not saying that's why I'm crying, but I'm crying because I'm really hurt. I'm not going to do nothing drastic with my life just because he never showed up. I'm not going to do nothing stupid just because he never calls me. I just got to keep living. But every time, as I was saying, every time I look down at him, when he was small, when we went for walks or bike rides, it's his little eyes and his smile with his little teeth smiling back. I remember one time we went bike riding to the zoo, and we're riding our bicycles. He must have been like around maybe 12 years old or 11. He raced ahead of me and he stopped. And I said, "Where are you going, Everett?" He says, "Stop." He says, "I got to give you something." He jumped off his bike and he ran to the grass area. It was summertime. The grass was nice and green. And there was this little flower. It was like a little sunflower. And he pulled that sunflower and he ran towards me with a big smile. And he said, "This is for you." He said, "Because I love you." And he stuck that sunflower in my handlebars of my bike. I never forgot it. It's stuff like that that kept me strong during my transition. The reason why you chase your children is because you never give up on them. It's because you love them. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're strong. In today's society, people see others crying and they say, well, you should be a little stronger, don't cry. But actually, it's the other way around. It's because these are the tears that's saying, enough is enough. I need to live my life and let go. And if it's meant to come back to me, it'll come back to me. I had a friend, and she had just started her transition, and she had been cross-dressing, living two lives. When she went to work, she would dress as a man because she wasn't allowed to dress as a woman on her job because she was a banker. And because she never started her process legally, she never had a legal name change, and her driver's license was never changed over legally, she kept cross-dressing when she went home to be the person who she felt she always was. And I've only came to know her for 3 months. She had a girlfriend, and her girlfriend went to the meeting with us one day, and she said, you never know who he will be when they come home. When someone does that during their life, it's because they're caught between two worlds, and there's some sort of confusion. They're trying to balance out their life to see what works and what's right for them. And it's a good thing to do, but it's not easy for everybody. I did that before I legally transitioned and had all my paperwork changed, because I couldn't do that. You know, I can't go to work as a male 20 years ago and then come home and be a female. The chaos is too much for me. I can't do it, because this is who I really am. So this friend I'm talking about came home one day, and she went in her garage, and she sat in her shiny red Jaguar, dressed up as who she's supposed to be, the woman that she felt. And she called up her girlfriend, and she's in the car talking to her girlfriend in the garage with the windows up, and there was a hose going to her tailpipe, and the other end was inside the car with the windows up while the engine was running. She was slowly committing suicide while she was talking to her girlfriend, and her girlfriend had no idea. But this is what led up to the suicide, was the rejection of her family, her children. She would go to her monthly support meeting and she would cry, and she said she can't do it, that her children mean all to her, mean everything to her. If you're going through that, take the extra time and really take your time. Families do need time. I'm not saying that my son will ever turn around. I have no idea. But that's why she committed suicide, was because she just gave up. She gave up. And one day I went to the library, and our therapist, who always held a meeting the first weekend of every month, texted everybody and says, we want to let you know that Tina committed suicide yesterday and she's gone. So the pain is real. The pain is real. Rejection is real. And if you're not clear-minded or aware that it could happen to you, pause and think and And make sure you're in reality, because it can happen. Rejection is real. A lot of our brothers and sisters have committed suicide because of living a very, very lonely life and being rejected by friends who were once their friends and families who were once their families. I said in the past that I don't really have a lot of friends. I can count my friends on both hands. But the friends that I do have, I treasure and I love them and I appreciate them. So I've come to a point where right now, as of last week, I'm not thinking about my son. I can't anymore. I can't, because he's just going to kill me. I've gone to a point where I felt crushed, where I've literally given him my arm and my leg to make him happy. I spent hours with him on the phone when he was having problems and situations at home. And I've always told him, I'm here for you if you ever need me. But unfortunately, he's not ever been there for me. You can call it what you want. I respect your decisions. But I feel so much better now that I've taken this out. I want you guys to know that I'm not a superhero by any means. I'm a human being, or a spirit experiencing a human life. And I think we all have purposes in our lives, and that's to show people our human side, that we can be hurt, and we do hurt. We have moments where we're very lonely. We have moments where we're outgoing. It's just like that. Life is like it's full of peaks and valleys. But just because I didn't talk about my son, which I was hoping to see when I was up there last week, I didn't see, not even a phone call, nothing. It's just, for almost all of his life, every Christmas and every birthday, I always sent a card and a phone call. When I went up there last year for a motorcycle ride, I told my brother that we were going to stop by his house and talk to him and see if he's ready to go motorcycling. So my friends and my brother on our motorcycles went to his house, knocked on the door, and a strange man came to the door and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here for Everett." I thought maybe my ex got married again, or maybe started seeing somebody else. But what really happened was my son and my ex and her husband sold the house and moved away a year earlier. And my son never told me that they moved away, because that's the address that I used to always send birthday cards and Christmas cards. This year was the first time in 25 years that I didn't send a single birthday card and a single Christmas card, because he refused to give me the address. Yeah. Yep. It was bad enough when I first came out. My parents didn't speak to me for 7 years, and they ignored all my cards and all my Christmas cards to them. But yeah, they're the ones I'm moving up there for, so I can be close to them, so I can be there if they need me. But I'm not only going there for them. I'm going there for me too. I just want to say thank you for being my subscriber and my friend, because talking like this helps me to feel better, because I know somebody's listening. You guys have a great night.